Good morning, everybody, and welcome into the first episode of a very exciting series beginning here on the channel where we are gonna build the castle. Now, I've technically already done this, but if you're not aware, we're gonna try and build a minifigure scale Hyrule Castle from Breath of the Wild. And I'm saying that with such dubious tones because I know that this is going to be a huge project, and that is not an overstatement. This thing is going to be massive, and that should be judged by what I have to show you today, which is the entrance bridge into the castle just before the not the drawbridge, but like the big doors, which we'll be working on soon. And if you've watched my custom set showcase videos, you know that I've actually already made a smaller scale version of these, and let me tell you, the process is entirely different, and this is super scaled. So we've got quite a lot to take a look at today, and this is going to be a bi-weekly series where I show you the progress I'm doing on any planning, any reference images and stuff. However, today this is fairly simple, really. I'm not going to be showing too much. However, there are a couple of little details. So obviously, this is the entrance bridge to the castle, and my goals for this series are to replicate, well, this is the beginning point, and then we'll just replicate all of the castle, like up here, and we'll go all the way up to the top of the sanctum. And I think this is the best way to do it, because if I set the scale for the bridge here, then I should be able to work out, and you can see already I've started to prepare the next section of terrain for us to work on. I've been doing the rock work, and let's talk about that first. So the first decision I had to make with this series is what technique I needed to do the rock work. The Breath of the Wild Hyrule Castle sits on a massive, massive mountain in a sense, so there's going to be a lot of rock work. And in the end, I settled on the classic slope technique, and I know a lot of people are going to want a more complicated version of this technique involving snot work and stuff, but it's just not time viable in studio to do something like that. I need to keep it simple, and actually I'm a big fan of this technique. Like, I absolutely love this particular piece of rock work here. I think this looks great. So what I did is I hopped into game and I found a load of like imagery. I walked around for basically like an hour just in this area, exploring all the different angles and all the details, and that can be seen no better than over here. I mean, there's a bit of artistic interpretation because there's bones. There wasn't bones in my original look around, but if I come down here, you can see that I've used Lego pieces at this scale to best represent these little like alcoves. And that's another thing we're going to do is one of these alcoves has a Korok in them, which you can see up here. One of the things I knew I wanted to do was to include all Hyrule Castle Koroks. So if I come over to the other side of our bridge, it's very hard to lean around. It's going to be a learning curve for me here as well. You can see there is this 1x1 round cylinder in here, and that would have a Korok-like print on it in the real version, because that is the plan as well, is to eventually build this thing in real life. It's just going to take a while. We're going to build the whole thing digitally first. But moving on from the Korok, we'll talk about the side of the bridge next. And the first thing to notice, I guess, is like the actual texturing I used to make a slope. I knew that I wouldn't be able to use actual slope pieces, so I chose for like a tactic of using studded things in a very similar pattern to the entrance of a Disney castle, just a bit steeper. And I'm not entirely happy with it. I think the alternative ones need like a step up on each of their steps, but really it's such a minor detail in the grand scheme of the castle that I think we can fix it for next week. On the side of the bridge, it was actually quite difficult to get like a slightly thicker curve, because it's obviously thicker than the bridge on the bottom and thicker than the top, and you wanted it to actually show it with some substance, and I think I did a pretty good job. Been using clip pieces along the top to sort of create like the handrail look, and then a variation of wedge slopes which are like paired up to the angle in order to create like that dark bluish grey detail which you see. The castle is going to be predominantly light grey, however I'm going to do a lot of weathering and texturing work to make it look good. And that brings us actually onto the top segment where I've done a decoration piece. There were 3 balustrades outside the castle in game. Obviously one of them, which would have been the 4th one, which sits over here, has been like knocked down and destroyed in the calamity. I'm going to do a pre-calamity castle, so I actually still need to build the 4th one, because ever since Age of Calamity came out, we can just like replicate the 4th one. And we can do all the green colours, and I think it will look a lot nicer with colours. However, we really can't see that yet because we're only at the entrance. And then the last thing I've actually done for this week, and I want to actually show you, is this here. I was using some snot techniques to offset the gates of the bridge, which are going to be attached to this clip piece here. We'll have this unit repeated on the other side, and then this is the bit where the actual second Korok is, so we'll have to get to work on that next week as well. I've also spent quite a lot of time working on the technique frame. I'm still a learning technique, so this frame is going to be a bit iffy, but luckily there won't be too many of them, I don't think, at least not at this stage of the build, and then I can learn as I progress progress through. Basically, I'm using large Technic rods going up the side and being attached to a pillar to lock it in place, as locking is the strongest form of Lego, and we'll go from there. So really, it's a bit of an experimental one. I'm more curious to see what you guys think. Obviously, next I want to go to this side here. I want to finish up this rock work and start work on like the ledge, and there's this tower up here where a guardian shoots at you, but I also want to work on the drawbridge and that second Korok and stuff. And we'll just see how this series goes. I know it's a big undertaking, and you may think that I'm mad to start with, but we'll find our stride, we'll get going, and we'll make some progress. So in the meantime, let me know what you'd like to see from this series, details you expect me to miss out. I'm hoping to share some more of my planning in the coming weeks, but obviously it was more important that I get this series started and show you what I've already got. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.